Good morning, TED. Have you ever experienced your mind going a mile a minute and getting nowhere? Have you ever been so churning in your mind, going round and round, getting nowhere, almost buzzing, and you cannot solve the problem right in front of you? You just can't slow it to solve the problem right in front of you. You can stop your buzzing brain and bring it into laser focus whenever you want, if you know how to stop time. Here's how I learned. Imagine you're working alone late one night. Imagine receiving a very angry voicemail that says, "Call me immediately." Imagine knowing that when you call back, your entire career will hang in the balance. That your answer will be a make or break moment for your career and may endanger the jobs of people who are depending on you. That happened to me. One night, years ago, I got that voicemail. It said, and this is a quote because you tend to remember things like this, Eva, call me back immediately and tell me why you insist on living every day of your life in non-compliance with your contract. My mind went into a tailspin. That was Dan, my government contracts officer. My engineering company that I was working for at the time was doing lots of large engineering projects for the US government. I was the project manager on many of them. People were depending on me and depending on my relationship with Dan, the government contracts officer. When you work for the US government, they put over you a government contracts officer whose job it is to judge your compliance with your contract, judge the quality of your work, determine what work your firm receives, even determine whether you get paid. The contracts officer is a very powerful person. Mine was the most important person in my work life. And he was angry, demanding I call back and explain myself. As I said, my mind had gone into a tailspin. What had we done? How bad was it? How bad was it going to get? Could we fix it? Who could I call? Oh my gosh, my mind was churning, going nowhere, buzzing. I couldn't clear it. Then I decided to stop time. I stopped thinking. I said to myself, I'll call Dan back right away. What do I know? Nothing about the problem. I know that Dan is hard to please, hard-headed, and angry. What else do I know? I know how I want my side of this conversation to go. I know how I want my half of this conversation to sound. No matter what, when this conversation is over, Dan will know that I listened hard. And my firm will comply with its contract. No matter how angry he is, no matter how unpredictable, no matter how threatened I feel, when this conversation is over, Dan will know that I accept the criticism and I will fix what needs fixing. How do I want to sound? Calm. Good, I feel calm. Because I have a plan. No matter what, this will be my tone of voice. And these are some of the words I've chosen and will use. It's a plan. I've decided. Time may begin again. I called Dan. Now remember, a moment ago, my mind was buzzing, getting nowhere. I was going to lose my job. Here's the conversation. Dan, I don't know what we did, but it will not happen again. I will fix it beginning tonight. Now please tell me what we did. Dan went right to it, told me what to revise in our report. I said I'd fix it that night and send it that night. Dan hung up. I hung up. Oh my gosh. I was exhilarated. This was amazing. That night was the first time I had ever stopped my buzzing brain so completely in the face of a threat like that. The first time I'd ever calmed myself completely. Stopping time did that. Stopping time let me bring myself back together and gave me laser focus. Stopping time was the only thing that let me focus on what I had to do in that moment to be effective. Stopping time stops a buzzing brain. We're told to be still, but I don't think being still is enough. I think we have to be still and decide. I think we have to stop and decide. I call on you then to stop your buzzing brain more often, and every time the people who are counting on you need your laser focus. Here's how to stop time. 3 steps. Step 1, stop the buzzing. Do that by going immediately to step 2. Who or what is controlling your reactions? I temporarily let Dan, the contracts man, control mine. Who or what is controlling your reactions? Know that, and then move that locus, that location, that place of your control from outside yourself to inside yourself. I moved the place of my control from over there with Dan, the contracts man, to right back here. Step 3, ask that same question. No matter what, how do I want my half of this conversation to go? How do I want my half of this conversation to sound? Then practice the tone of voice you've chosen, practice the words you've chosen. Then say, it's a plan. I have decided. Here are the steps summarized for you. Maybe I will hold it. I asked my coaching clients and my friends for examples of stop and decide, which is what they call it, and they told me their stories. Larry, a business owner, said he really couldn't keep his teammates energized and engaged, and he was under pressure from his board and his senior managers to do so, and it was getting extreme. He said, during my stop and decide, I admitted that my conversations with my employees about our vision and our mission were boring even me. He said, I admitted that my own vision of our company, who we are and where we could go, would have to get much clearer, more specific, and more meaningful. I decided that I wouldn't speak to my employees about it again until my answer was ready. And when I did, my conversations, we engaged. We got energized together, and we started moving again. Sally, a business owner, said about her 2 employees, I know with them I am too directive. I not only tell them what to do, I tell them how to do it. Work is getting slower and slower. This is bad, we're going to have to close our doors. During my stop and decide, Sal said, I realized it was my style that was the problem. I was preventing them from showing me any of their initial their individual initiative and creativity that I'd seen when I hired them. I decided that the best way to clear the decks was to tell them of my error, tell them where I'd gone wrong, and tell them that they were free to show me their initiative and creativity again. The change was immediate. What will be our story? What will be your story? Where can we put this method to the test? I challenge you. See yourself in a situation. Think of a situation. Envision yourself. Envision yourself in something that is pressure-filled or tension-filled, a conflict at home, at work, a really tough conversation. Do you have one? Feel the pressure on you. Feel the pressure, the tension in you. Now I dare you, see yourself stopping time. See yourself deciding what to do no matter what. If you were up here today instead of me, would you be nervous? I'm not, because I'm stopping time right now. I'm doing what I decided in advance to do, no matter what. And you can too. You can stop time. Thank you.